And here we are,
Yes,
live again, the Craig and Jane Show, answering all your psychic questions. And we're going to be answering your questions tonight and talking about all manner of things, aren't we, Jane?
and I think first of all you ought to say how your prediction was spot
Oh,
on.
okay, yeah. Well, another prediction's come up today. I'm not happy about it, but I mean, the predictions come up about Australia. I said there's going to be a tsunami on the coast of Australia. And although there's not actually a tsunami there at the moment, there's tsunami warnings all down the coast of Australia because of that volcano going off near Fiji and the rest. So, unfortunately, that's another one that I've got right. But, you know, these things happen, don't they? So it's important today, actually, guys, that you give us your questions, because the top of the show, we're going to focus on the most interesting questions. So let's have your questions and as well as your hellos. So we're going to say hellos first to everybody.
Right, Neil says, good morning Craig and Jane from Melbourne in Australia. What time is it there, Neil?
Oh, it's about 1 o'clock. We
Is
worked that
it?
out before in the morning.
Happy
Yeah.
man, I will be happy. We're a happy man too.
It's always a good idea. Whatever the circumstances, try to be happy.
Precious, hello lovely Craig and Jane. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Hi, Precious. We've seen you a number of times before. Thank you for joining us on the show
Beautiful
again.
name.
Agility Bits down in Cornwall. Our Pat.
I bet it's cold down there.
Yeah, I bet it is down there. Hello from Cornwall, says Pat. We know you're Pat because Pat Agility Bits is one of our patrons. Naneski NP. Good morning from PR. Actually, there was a funny comment actually put on here recently. They said, are those two dyslexic because we're reading all the names wrong?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Partly I can't see them. Ava can read that. Good evening, Craig and Jane.
Oh.
Nice to see you, Ava. And have your questions ready, guys. As soon as you get your questions, we'll be able to answer them at the beginning. Domenico will be looking out for your questions now as you post them.
And Darren says hi from Swansea. Hi, Darren.
Where's Swansea? That's down by Wales somewhere, isn't it?
You should know. You've been there.
Yeah, lots of times. Neil is saying, looking fabulous as always, Craig and Jane. Oh, that's nice of you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just was born fabulous.
Hi, everyone. Blessings to you all.
Our blessings to you, John.
We are looking fabulous, John. It's funny, people have actually been stopping us on the street and saying, hey, you're Craig and Jane, aren't you? So
Yeah,
we're
it happened
getting
today.
spotted
Keeps on
nowadays.
happening.
Yeah. Davina saying, evening, Jane and Craig from Mansfield, Nottinghamshire.
Oh, you read that?
Yeah, I managed to. Yeah.
Elaine says, hello
should
to you
wear-
both from Newcastle. Hi, Elaine.
I'm too vain to wear glasses, you see. That's the problem. And saying, good evening, Craig and Jane from Bury St Edmunds, Suffolk.
Oh, that's nice there.
That's always one that comes up on the football pools results, isn't it? Bury
Molly
St
from
Edmunds,
Austin,
3.
Texas, Craig.
Austin, Texan, 4. Yes. Patricia Schultz from Germany, who we know from Germany because she comes lots of times. Hi, from Germany. Hi, Patricia, again. Nice to see you.
Craig, please let Jane speak tonight. Thank you.
And then you'll probably can find others that will say the same thing, the other way round.
Do you reckon?
I see the comments. Neil, it's 6 a.m. in the morning for me.
Gosh, that's early, isn't it? Derek, good morning, Craig and Jane from Derek in Canada. We know Derek.
We know Derek. We know quite a few people that come on the show, but obviously there's thousands of you following us now.
I know people around the world, Craig.
Yeah, well, we do. Hundreds of thousands, nearly on the 100,000 mark for our followers, actually, which is pretty good because once we pass 100,000, YouTube promote you more. Joanne, well, it's all going on with Prince Andrew. What's your thoughts on what's happening? Well, that's not a bad thing to start with as a question, actually.
Well, I just believe that this is a karmic year and people that have done wrong, it's all coming to the surface and it's payback time. And I'm glad, in a way, very glad that he's been stripped of his patronship from the military, isn't it, Craig? And also, I feel that a civil case that's got to go forward. And I feel he should be accountable for his actions, what he's done. What do you think?
Well, I think that the city of York, I mean, probably people in America don't realise that the city of York are saying we're so fed up with him, we don't want him as the Duke of York even, let alone being the royal commander of this military organisation and that one. So I think he really is getting his comeuppance now. I said before that I think he won't really be brought to book until the Queen's dead, I think, because I think there'll still be lots of juggling as God, Her Majesty, the Queen, there coming up, and the last Majesty.
I don't feel Her Majesty will go just yet, Craig, because we've got the Platinum Jubilee coming up in June, and that. So and I think the palace is quite fed up with him at the moment, and I feel that with Prince Andrew, I feel that Charles has stepped in and William, and they're really disgusted because he can bring the monarchy down.
Well, I predicted that I feel the Queen will go this year, sometime, but she'll make it through the Jubilee, and then I think once the Queen, even if the Queen doesn't, and she retires a bit more from public life or has less influence, I think they're now distancing themselves from him, aren't they? And I think he's on the slippery slope this time to really come. I think he will. Do you think he'll be deported to America to actually stand trial and actually?
Well, you can't actually deport, but if someone was innocent, you'd want to prove it, wouldn't you?
He'd have to go to court. He'd have to actually
go
there.
They might do a video thing.
Yeah, possibly. That's a
probably.
Point.
I feel
well,
video
I don't know.
thing.
Can they do that?
Well, they can do that, but I feel sorry for the Queen.
But Ghislaine Maxwell, she didn't even take the stand.
Well, they haven't finished with her yet because she's got to have another court date.
She didn't even take the stand.
Because there's been two people or one person that was actually sitting on one of the jurors that they've had to throw it out of court.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always thought that, you want to hear the truth and you want justice done. And those are the two things we always seem to be denied with the courts, don't we? Ghislaine Maxwell, we wanted to hear from her own mouth what her defence was. But no, they do it all. They don't ever put her on the stand. The same with Andrew. Will he actually take the stand, and will he actually speak? He is such a liability in the things he said, like he did on that interview on TV with the BBC or whatever it was. He made such an idiot of himself. He would be his absolute own worst enemy if he spoke on the stand.
He's digging a hole for himself.
And I think we all know he's guilty, don't we?
Well, the thing is, not all these girls are lying, are they? And I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about the principle, and he should be accountable for his actions, what he's done to this young girl, because there's some more things to come up yet, and she'll be able to prove, because I believe there's a certain thing around him that he's got a fetish around, and that'll be proven in court.
Well, look, he's known to have a foot fetish, isn't he? Fergie revealed that some years ago.
It's a bit more than that, Craig.
And but this is the thing. If he's got the foot fetish, it's one of the things to be talking about a psychic program.
It's toes, actually, not feet.
Well, that's a foot fetish sort of thing again, isn't it? But if he's got that, what other fetishes has the guy got?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a bit of an oddball, isn't he?
And really? I think these girls that got involved, they were all vulnerable girls from broken homes. I mean, a 17-year-old, has been put in a position where they've given her a Prada bag or a Chanel bag, and it thinks wonderful. But where could they run, these girls? They couldn't get off an island of that. There's no escape for them.
Put your thoughts up, guys, because let's have some more questions about this topic. What are your thoughts? What do you think will happen? Are we getting this right? What do we think is going to happen? Where will this go? Will he be imprisoned, Jane? Yeah. Will he be imprisoned?
Well,
because what he's doing, it's pretty bad stuff, isn't it?
And Queen Victoria, what would you say? Off with his head?
I can hear her talking there in the background. Yeah. But, where does it end? Where does it end with this? And what other things are there in the background? I think, we've only really scraped the top of the iceberg with this. It's just the top of the iceberg. There's so much more going on in the background with all these people in power.
It always starts from the top, doesn't it, in power, and works its way down, you find, with all these
So Emma's saying, I will be happy to see him brought to justice. I've never liked him. He has done nothing for the royal family. And remember, of course, these are allegations which he strenuously denies. I mean, we're not saying he is guilty, but obviously, you have to say these are allegations he denies. But I think the public opinion on it is really that, how can you possibly keep ducking the issue the way that he's been doing?
Well, I should think anybody with decent morals would actually be mortified that somebody is living off our taxes in a privileged life.
I get a feeling with it too, actually, that something's going to come to light with it, where he will say that he's got some form of illness of some sort, that he can't appear in court. So I get the feeling something's going to come in about health. Something about health, I think, will come in. Have you got any thoughts about what's going to happen?
I think he's going to dig himself in a further hole, and I feel you see, this judge that's put forward, he's going to have no nonsense, because this judge has already said, I'm not having hounds in this court, and that. And I feel he'll have to face this girl. It will happen, it will happen.
Any unexpected things you think might come up?
Well, there's a bit more things to come up yet. This isn't the only girl, I don't think.
So you think there's more people to be revealed? Because that's another possibility, isn't it?
And higher up.
Because, you know, if he is guilty of this, and this is the one girl that's had the courage to come forward, how many others are there lurking in the background there? You know, he went out there plenty of times on that flight too, didn't he? He wasn't just the once.
Well, they have to have it logged, don't they?
You know, and Patsy's saying there, numerous other wealthy men around the world must be being hidden too, and this, I think, is the big issue.
You see, and people are getting a bit carried away, thinking, oh, it's some sort of satanic
cult thing. Well, obviously, because when you don't know something, people fantasize about it, and of course then you get all the conspiracy theories. But there's a lot of real big name stuff, like Clinton, you know, is supposed to have been out there lots of times as the island, didn't he? And that Barclays Bank guy went out there too. I mean, these are pretty deplorable things. Deportation is unfairly biased in the US favour. Just remember the American diplomat who killed the child in the UK. She claimed diplomatic immunity. Absolute brilliant point there, David. You remember the woman that came out driving on the wrong side of the road, for those that forgotten about it, and run that fella over.
Every action should be accountable for.
And yet they hide behind diplomatic immunity. How, if they can't get her out to the UK, how can America ever get Andrew out to answer the charges?
As I said before, Craig, they can have a video thing in court.
They
can link a video up. They can do it, because in most rape cases and things like that, the girls are behind a screen with dark cloth and talking.
No, I don't know. It's a possibility, isn't it? I don't know quite. No idea legally whether they can do it. I'm sure they must be able to. You must be probably right there.
I am right.
Yeah.
I'm never wrong.
So what's your thoughts, guys? What do you think? Will he be deported? Will he be brought to justice? Will this guy escape justice? Or do you think he's being unfairly accused? Is this a setup?
I just got here. I feel he's going to suddenly say he's got chest pains and all this stress and a heart attack. That's what's going to happen.
A health issue. That's what I was picking at. It's going to be stopped by some health issue. So you think the same thing as me then? You feel it's the heart in particular?
I think it's the heart, stress. That stress can bring on heart attacks. I'm going to say
something's going to stop, and the poor guy, he can't come to court, he's going to be in hospital and all the rest of it, and the question marks will be, is he really ill? And I think that's going to be the big conspiracy in the future. Is he dipping out through lying? And do you think this is Marilyn's Planet saying here, do you think Maxwell will release the big names on the list? Tom Hanks is on, and Judge Roberts is on.
Well, we don't know about that, do we?
Well, do you think...
I think this woman...
She's been shut up, hasn't she?
She's been shut up, yes, but I think this woman, to save her skin, they daren't expose people, because it's going to really throw the...
I think she's more saving her skin by not saying who's on the list rather than saying who's on the list in many ways, isn't it? Because if she's going to spill the beans and loads of other people are going to be brought down with this, is it really going to help her case to keep her out of prison? She'll blacken her name even more, and she'll have all the powers that be jumping on her. I think she'll just keep quiet about it. I think it's going to be very difficult to get those other names off the list. I bet all the journalists are onto it all the time, trying to get deeper and deeper information. But whether they'll get it or not, I don't know.
Well, why should these people that have done wrong, why should they not be accountable for? Because somebody's a king, a queen, or a politician, it doesn't give them the power to go and hurt young girls.
No. Well, these are the issues that everybody's worrying about at the moment, aren't we? Because, I mean, the problem with these things is if the top of the tree is so corrupt, and it's the same, you know, we're seeing it here at the moment in the UK, just like you've had all sorts of corruption problems in your politics in America for a long time, and in Australia and in Canada, all around there's been these. Now we're getting all sorts of political corruption, I call it, really, when people are having parties in the during lockdown and things. We've got to get the top of the tree clean. How can we ever get society straight if the people at the top, the kings and queens, the politicians, the businessmen, are all of bad character? You know, we need people of good character before the world can ever be sorted out.
Now, Blanche says he will pay a settlement and escape the justice before he has money. I feel the court they're talking about in this country that it possibly come to court December. The girl doesn't want money or settlement. She wants justice. So the Queen has already said that she won't put the money up.
Yeah.
So that's why he is selling a Swiss chalet, which he's just paid back 6 million to somebody he owed, because legal things can be quite expensive.
6 million is going to go nowhere.
No,
on this
and
case.
I spoke with a girl. There'll be a fund that's already that people are going to give, I reckon, in America to bring him to justice.
Yeah. And Nana's here saying, I hope that Andrew has his day in court, and there will be more red flags coming up. I refuse to call him royalty and a prince. And I think the whole country, well, the whole country can't call him that now. He's been stripped of his titles. And the question we have to ask is, how many other people have been given honours? You know, Sir Jimmy Savile and sirs and dukes and all the rest of it. I mean, we have these people in positions of privilege because of the titles we give them, and yet they're not really under scrutiny. None of us actually vote to give them these titles, you know, including the people that we awarded to become Sir this and Sir that out of the politicians. It's the politicians that decide who can carry the titles. So, you know, it's awful that we have so many awful people like that around us. You know, and then Boris Johnson, is he going to resign? This is another question.
I don't feel he'll want to resign. I feel I've got to personally say, when we had the COVID-19 around, I think he'd done a very good job, because I felt that very difficult for anyone in position, because we all didn't know what we were dealing with. But I don't agree with them having parties when we all had to give up so much Boxing Days, going out, and families.
I mean, what he did was absolutely bloody shocking.
Hypocrite.
Shocking, really. And not just him, the whole lot of them, all drinking wine every Friday, they were talking about here, you know, boozing it up while people are looking through the windows watching their loved ones dying, or trying to touch their loved ones who are in the twilight homes and things, you know. I mean, appalling. But do you know what? I think Johnson will wiggle out of it. I don't think he will resign over this, and I don't know. They're going to try hard to pull him down, but I get the feeling, I think I'm right, he'll keep on. Richie Sunak's waiting there to jump in, of course, but I think he's such a slippery eel, that guy. I think he'll stick there somehow. Yeah. Even though it looks like he won't at the moment.
Well, the other one, the Labour one, Keir
Starmer, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he can't talk about Boris Johnson because he done wrong.
I know,
too.
they're all as bad, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And this is the problem. They say, oh well, we can't get rid of him because everybody's just as bad. And you think to yourself, you know, these are the people we vote into power. These are the people that are supposed to be setting an example. And lots of people in the country made a really good example and pulled together to try to all sort of do a lockdown to see if they could break COVID. And these guys let us down. Yeah. Just like the First World War. It's the generals that caused the problems.
Right. Wellington Witch said, do you think that Tony Blair should have been knighted? Personally, no. Because personally, I felt causing wars and different things, it's wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean Tony Blair. Without him, the Labour Party would have probably gone right down the pan, because I mean he pulled him back with this whole idea of New Labour and things. So this is opinion; it's not really psychic, is it?
What's new about it?
Yeah, but I mean it was always the same. I think one day, though, you know, looking at it in a sort of more spiritual level, I think one day we will get
Right.
proper leadership, we
Yeah.
will get people of character in power. This
Yeah.
is what I talk about, what this golden age would be about, actually, where,
Right.
the right qualities are understood
Yeah.
for humans.
Now, Max says, what's your thoughts on the future of Meghan and Harry? I got the feeling that in June, when it's the Queen's platinum, that they will be welcomed back into the family, especially Harry. I'm sure that's going to happen.
I think there's possibly going to be...
Well, the Queen, she'll want that because she wants family, but at the moment it's just baby steps.
The thing is, though, I don't think Meghan would ever allow it. She's the one that wants to be in control. I'm sure Harry would probably like to make a compromise if he could, because, you know, he knows how hard it is being part of the royal family. It's still his family, isn't it? You know, it's not just his position, it's his family. But Meghan wouldn't have that, Jane, I don't think.
Well, I don't
Meghan
know.
she wants her own world.
Harry will come back for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, Craig.
I think he might come back for the Jubilee, but I don't think these rifts are ever going to be sorted out. This is going to be one of the same sort of problem they had with Wallace Simpson and the rest of it. You know, I mean, that was a little bit more legitimate, I think, that went on there, because you know. But I think it's going to remain as a complete stalemate there. I can't see them ever sorting it out. And Meghan will constantly want to always, it's all about Meghan. It's all about me, me, me. That's what she's into. She's never going to change that attitude. You can't see her coming back and conforming to
I'm not on about
royal
Meghan.
protocol.
I'm on about Harry, because Harry still has royal blood through his veins.
So someone called the Tudor Times.
Is that Henry
bit out of
VIII's
date.
wife? Queen Victoria?
Bit behind the times, but
we are not
it
amused.
says, I predict the Queen will dissolve government early March.
Well, they usually do have a reshuffle, don't they?
No, he's saying here that they actually end.
I don't think she will. I don't think she's got that much power over the
No, that
government.
means the politicians
Yeah.
would arrange that, and the Queen would be told to do that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't see that.
No, I don't see that happening.
James Green, something good that will happen this year, please. Me and Craig.
I don't know.
We are in dark times at the moment, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, because I feel this is a year of realisation, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I think one of the things, there's a bit of a movement going on. Someone actually emailed me about this, that there's quite a good movement going on to sort of stop people forgetting about Tibet, you know, and there's a number of movies coming out about, controversial movies about we shouldn't forget Tibet and what's going to happen to the Dalai Lama and things like that. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more positive political type of movements again towards looking to values and saying, here's, you know, this is a wrong, and people wanting to right a lot of wrongs.
Yeah, a spiritual awakening.
And these are important, because I think people have become very complacent with their opinions of things and that, and it's all Facebook type of mentality when it comes to divisions that occur. I think we need a lot more sort of things that ask the big moral questions about, you know, as a society, should we be protecting democracy? As a society, should we be allowing all this corruption happening at the top of governments and things? All these things we've been talking about here. It's going to get a reaction, and I think it'll be a good thing if people start to, you know, become a lot more vocal about cleaning things up. So an ending of corruption might not happen this year, but I think perhaps through 2023, perhaps we'll get much more of a stronger worldwide movement to start to clean up corruption and start voting in the right sort of people rather than the wrong sort of people.
Right, Emma says, it seems that Omicron may be the start of the end of the pandemic. Do you both think that at the end of the vaccines for now? Well, I'm sure there's going to be many vaccines in the future for different things, and I think we've got to live with this for a little while longer.
I think Omicron's here.
I don't think it's as bad as COVID-19, though.
Well, it's
Because
a
our immune
version
systems
of COVID-19,
are, yes,
Jane.
but our immune systems are all changing.
I said before that Omicron is, in a way, it's nature's cure, because with the vaccines have stopped the really terrible deaths and got us out the worst of it. But the Omicron, being mild, means you can catch it and not die from it, and therefore you've got an immunity. And maybe this is, like I've said before, what the virus is trying to do. See it from the virus's viewpoint. It doesn't want to be wiped out. It wants to find a host. It doesn't want to kill its host, because if it kills its host, it can't progress. It's trying to evolve. It's trying to live in its own strange sort of way. So therefore, its best way is to adapt to a host. And I think the Omicron is adapting, and we are adapting to it. And consequently, it will be here and be more of a virus that is kind of less lethal. I mean, I've said this before, we are a collection of bacteria and virus and chemical things that have evolved over millions and millions of years to create this body. And we're a factory of all sorts of viruses and bugs and the rest of it. And all those cellular processes all started off in the same way. So it's adapting to us, and we will adapt to it.
Okay, my little bug.
Yeah.
Right. Nana says, I've got to put this on, we need the aliens to come down and sort governments for all families. Seriously, do you both see alien contact? Anything's possible. Well, I think we can't be ignorant and not think there's no other life.
The thing
forces.
you've forgotten about, Jane,
is a comet.
We talked last week about aliens, didn't we? And on the way home, we were really shocked, because we saw that a comet came, whatever it wasn't a comet, was a falling star, came down the sky and
right in front of us.
Right in front of us. It wasn't just like the little flashes you get normally with a little meteorite.
Blue light.
It's
bright
bright
big,
as hell.
It?
And shot across the sky. And we thought, God, we've
Right
been talking about UFOs, and here it is.
Yeah.
You know, we were pretty shocked. You know?
I'm sure there's other life forces.
There definitely is other life in the universe. Whether the
know,
vast distances could ever be crossed, though, is another
the
question.
spirit world might be aliens.
Well, yeah. I mean, the gods, the world of the gods, might be the alien worlds. This is what I've said about things like Shiva and things. Who knows? We might already be in contact with them in our own way.
Is Sheila? You said is Sheila now?
Yep. Sheila's saying, will Rishi Sunak become the next UK Prime Minister?
I think he'd like to be.
Definitely would like to be. I think it's probably likely he will be, actually. Though normally when they do it, when Theresa May came along, for example, I'd never heard of Theresa May before.
Really?
Well, not before she became Prime Minister. I didn't know who the hell she was. She seemed to come out of the back wings. And it seems with all these people they put forward as the next candidate for whatever party, did you know of Keir Starmer before he came
Craig,
along? Could be all sorts of weird people.
I really think all these men are weak men, and I think they need a strong woman like Margaret Thatcher to sort them all out.
Yeah. Problem is, every time you put
girls' blouses,
every time you put a woman in charge, you normally get lots of wars.
If they put me in charge, there wouldn't be.
I can't name them all. Yeah. Do you think the Queen will pass over this year? Had a horrible feeling she may. Well, I put it in my 2022 predictions that I feel she will. What do you think, Jane?
Well, I think the Queen's had a lot of stress, hasn't she? What with losing Philip and that. I don't like personally to predict death, because I think that's just a natural process. And I think when you start thinking about death, it's like it's willing it. And because she's a great age anyway, so she's going to die, isn't she, in the future, like we all are. But I feel that this lady lives to see the Jubilee this year, definitely.
Well, I got it right about Prince Philip, and you got it right about the Rolling Stone. What was his name? Which one was it? I forgot. Keith.
It wasn't Mick Jagger.
No, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. Sorry?
Oh.
Your mic's gone, Mike.
Oh, is it?
So unfortunately, that it comes part of the process of the way we predict. Unfortunately, those type of things do come up. But like you say, it's true.
Charlie Watts, it was.
Charlie Watts, that's it. I was getting muddled him up. Yeah. But it's always the same, isn't it? With these things, we it's part and parcel of making predictions. It's not always nice to do, actually.
I think William will be king by the end of the year. Well, I believe that William will be the last king monarch. I think Charles will be king, but perhaps not for long. But I feel he'll make a good job, especially with the environment and everything. And William will take his place. So William will The last.
That's interesting because that corresponds with exactly what I said in
I
my.
don't know what
No,
you
I know you didn't because you haven't watched it, so that's fine. That's why I say it's interesting. You say exactly what I said as well. That Charles would have. I felt Charles would have a short reign.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean to say Charles dies. I think there's something something stops him. There's a short reign, and then William comes in, and William, I felt, would be the last king
Right.
of England.
Right. Jackie says, well, hello, Craig and Jane, how are you? Ex-Delphi member here.
Oh, so
Well,
that's for the people from used to be on the old chat
Well,
rooms.
I don't know any of these
Oh,
people.
we used to have the chat rooms on psychics.co.uk called Delphi, but now Delphi, Elysium, and all the rest of it is part of the new patron system. So if you enjoy Delphi, go and become a patron because we do it all now on Zoom, and you can come into the Zoom classes and join me on Zoom and have some people like Sheila who's just put a comment up there. Lots of really nice people where we chat. It's not like a chat room anymore. It's much more formal than that, where we talk a bit like this, but you can interact with me in the Zoom. So and also just by supporting this channel, by becoming a patron, you help us to do all this. You help us to have the studio that we've got set up here. You help us to get moved towards opening a full centre if we can. We also give money to charities and things like that. And so all of these things are done, and so it helps us if you can become a patron. So do that, and if you're new, just subscribe to us as well and follow this channel because we have new stuff coming out all the time with lots of new plans, and hopefully we're going to do some stuff later on where we go to other places in the world and live stream from there as well. We've got lots of ideas and things planned for the future. What's your thoughts on portals and vortexes in haunted places?
Now, I know Matt is very interested in ghost hunting and everything. He lives in Torquay and he's always going to, is it Pomeroy Castle? Because he's always trying to catch images of ghosts on cameras and everything. Yes, they do exist, portals and vortexes, and a lot of energy. And they're quite circle-like. Have you ever seen one, Craig? You can actually put your
I
hand
think I have to think to myself about what they are. Remember we were interested in these guys called, we had some friends that were very interested in what was called geopathic stress. Now, this was an idea that Earth energy creates certain points in the world where their energy is particularly difficult. It's a bit like the idea of there being a Earth energy and ley lines. You know, you've heard about ley lines and things like that. And where these ley lines cross sometimes, these are like energy lines on the Earth, you get certain vortexes of energy that's created by the Earth itself. Some of it is caused, they reckon, by underground streams and things like that. And these places develop a certain power and energy that could make it much easier at those places to be able to connect with other worlds. I mean, I was really also interested in the Carlos Castaneda books, where although that was kind of a bit more fantasy, to be honest, I think, but I was interested in it because the idea that they came up with there about finding your power point, you know, the certain place where you sit, where you feel more at ease with yourself, more at power. You know, cats will find the spot which feels right for them. And I think we have a sense of that too, of being in the right place, sitting in the right place and knowing that that's kind of our power point. Would you think that's like the right same idea of what a vortex is, Jane?
I saw a vortex energy, and I've actually seen one where it's sort of like a blue light.
Mine's not working.
Mine's not working.
Oh,
Have you done the batteries in my microphone?
well, Jane's got a little bit of a problem with the microphone, so I'll just talk for a while Domenico sorts her mic out for you. So,
You put the batteries.
yeah, it's all right. We can sort that in a minute, Jane. We can sort you out. You can try the other mic actually on a Domenico, perhaps, if she's got a problem with that one. So, I hope Camilla will not be Queen Consort. No one can take the place of Diana. Well, I'll have to give you my thoughts on Camilla. Nobody likes her as a person, do they? Because she replaced... Diana was like the perfect, almost a fairy tale queen, really. She's a princess, wasn't she? And so I think we kind of can be a little bit harsh on Camilla sometimes, because she at least has now stuck with Charles. I think Charles should never have married Diana in the first place, because he disappointed everybody, and of course he was already seeing Camilla before that. So we did, of course, the seances, didn't we, Jane? If your mic's working now,
Yes,
where we
and I just
communicated.
remember you were playing about my microphone and the batteries earlier.
No, I put the batteries in, but I think
They weren't
these
going.
things happen. Normally, it's mine. But we did the seances where we connected with Diana.
Well, we
too,
actually
didn't
we travelled with the royal correspondent to Paris and New York and London, and people that personally knew her, because there's lots of psychics saying, "Oh, I brought Diana through," but we actually gave evidential proof. And I can tell you one of the things Diana felt, that Charles would never have married Camilla Parker Bowles when the Queen Mother was alive, and you know, and it. I mean, I like Diana and that, and as for Camilla Parker Bowles, I don't think at the end of the day, you know, Prince Charles should have married her in the beginning, but he was too much of, shall we say, influenced a lot by Lord Mountbatten, that chose Diana and everything, and for, shall we say, you know, to bring children into the world, because it was very awkward. A beautiful young girl like that and had children. It would have worked if Camilla hadn't intervened and kept.
If he'd married Camilla in the first place, there would be no problem with them.
Yes,
Diana would
yeah.
never have been on the scene. But the fact is, he didn't. And I think Mountbatten would be, you know, if ever, I think Mountbatten has always had a very powerful influence upon
figure.
Charles.
Father figure.
And even from the spirit world, I get the feeling that Charles would also almost be in contact with Mountbatten. I think in his thoughts he would think, what would you do? You know, what should I do? And he was a good force in his life, but maybe not a good force when it came to the influence of who to choose for his bride.
Well, didn't Lord Mountbatten wanted one of his nieces to marry Charles, and Diana's sister actually went out with Prince Charles.
Yeah. It's a real complicated situation. The press have sort of poured over and over again. Craig and Jane, what about your future? Any new things?
What
you mean our future? Well, lots of new things going to be happening around us for the future. Like I said, we're hoping to be able to broadcast from overseas sometimes. We're gonna later in the year, we're planning to do something where we're going to do some broadcasts from Italy. That's going to be a definite at some point. It's a matter of setting it all up. So we're going to sort of maybe take you around some of the Italian countryside, and we've got a few surprises for you for that in the future.
Seance room.
We've got the seance room coming up this year too. Now that's going to be interesting. And again, with this, we want to bring many more guests in. We can do some more. I can do some sort of guest shows just on Zoom with some of you if you want to. We can have guests like we've had people here sat with the three of us, but we also want to do some guest sort of psychic readings and things like that around the seance room. So those of you that want to get in touch, get in touch with us through the website. It's psychics.co.uk. There it is up in the corner of the screen there. You can see it there, up by the wing logo there. Go and find the contact form. I'm very interested in connecting now with people. It doesn't have to be famous people. It's people with something interesting to share with us, and hopefully not agendas to push their services too much. We obviously give you a plug, but we're going to be doing a lot more of the sort of interactions with people, and we're going to go live a lot more in the week, and sometimes just spontaneously, just go live every now and again. So make sure you follow the channel, because if you follow the channel, you'll be able to catch us at all sorts of extraordinary times, wherever you are in the world. So, you know, we do an early morning one here. You can catch it at reasonable times in Australia, for example. So, that answered the question, hopefully. And that's predicting my own future, I don't know. What books are you reading right now? I'm reading the Upanishads, actually. In particular, the Upanishads where they go down and talks to the god of death, and all about what happens to the soul after death, and particularly the ideas about the Atma. So That's what I'm reading at the moment.
and
One of the books.
Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
reading any books at the moment because I'm a far too busy woman doing lots of things. And I've set up my own YouTube channel, which is quite nice, meditations and everything. So it's Psychic Medium Jane Hamilton Parker, and you'll find me on there.
Yeah, you can just do a search for Jane's name in YouTube for that. Yeah, but I think books is an interesting topic
Yeah.
actually sometimes, because I don't know about you guys, but I tend to read 2 or 3 books at the same time, you know.
I can do that, Craig, and then
Yeah.
I can
Well, I
always
never
come
finish
back to
half
them.
of them. Yeah, come back to them.
I find that most interesting.
Particularly with non-fiction books, because like the
Yes,
Upanishads is great, but then
Yeah.
it's a lot to take in, and then you put it down again and you come back to it. And I've also been simultaneously reading the Bhagavad Gita
Yeah.
version by Yogananda, which is a
interesting.
fantastically brilliant book, because Yogananda wrote that just before he died, and he wrote it within weeks, I believe. And it takes so much to take in. It's just so much. His understanding of it is brilliant. So obviously, I'm interested in the Indian stuff at the moment. Trying to think of what else I'm reading. I had a few. I was reading a book about Nazis and the Nazis occult. Yeah,
horrible.
a few. I can't remember the title of the book, but that's another weird story.
No, I'm
yeah,
not interested
yeah.
in
So we make a mix.
Now, Joanne says, do you think there's any truth in the man claiming to be Charles and Camilla's son? I don't think so for one moment. I think he's a bit nutty when you look at him.
I know. Yeah, and it was a bit like the people.
And he's quite old looking as
Yeah.
well when you look at him. I think he's in his 50s.
Yeah, and the number of people that claim to have been the Russian princess that was killed by the Romanov one, you know, what was her
She
name?
meant to live in
I've forgotten
the
her
Isle of
name.
Wight.
Yeah, well, I had one person that came to me for a reading that said she was the
Anastasia.
Anastasia.
Yeah.
That's it. She reckoned she was Anastasia. Someone came for me for a reading. I thought, no, you're not. You know,
And
but
Craig,
fantasist, you know,
Craig,
she was.
I'm Catherine the Great from Russia.
Yeah.
Davina.
When you do your seances, will you be making contact with celebrities?
Well, we'll probably have celebrities here, but you can't just click your fingers and make Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson come through, because they've got to actually personally know them, and people don't understand that.
This is really quite important, actually, what Jane's saying there, because people, you get a lot of mediums that say, I'm going to do a reading for Kurt Cobain, and I'm going to bring Kurt Cobain through, and they say all this stuff. And the thing is, we have no way possibly of knowing whether you've got Kurt Cobain or Elvis Presley or whoever, because there's nobody there who can confirm it. You have to have somebody sat with you that actually knew them personally and can correspond, and that say Kurt Cobain would want to speak to. You know, so and then we can get to the depths of it. That's what we had to do with the Diana seance. We couldn't just sit there and go into a trance and say that we got Diana, because you'd just be a load of
prove it.
You know, unprovable codswallop, couldn't it? But if you've got someone sat there that knew her personally, if Charles sat with me, which he won't, but suppose Charles sat with us and we tried to do a seance for Prince Charles, then Charles would say, oh yes, that was what she used to say to me, or that's what we used to know, that was our secret word we had between us. All those little things make the contacts possible. So you can't pull celebrities out the air, can you, Jane? You've got to have somebody there with you that can properly verify it, you know. And that's really important. Well, we love to do stuff for celebrities, but we need people that know those people well.
You answer this, Craig. Franco?
Have you received anything regarding the Great Reset? You've got to assume that there is a Great Reset, first of all. I mean, I think that's one for a separate video, really. Yeah. It's very, very contentious stuff with it, some of which I think is fantasy, some of which I think is true, and it's a matter of sifting through and finding out what's true and what's not. But I certainly think there's a lot of odd things going on in the world, you know, and the powers that be. There's a lot of clandestine, hidden stuff, and we know that. But then, because there's hidden stuff, too many people also jump in with the thoughts that there's more to it than there is. But you know, so there might be. I think I would rather save that one for another time. Actually, do it in a bit more depth. That one. 6:30 a.m. here in Oz. Hopefully, this tsunami doesn't get to us. It got to me.
Dear.
Yeah, it was that was the one I predicted, wasn't it? If you have a look at my Australian videos, that's one of the main predictions for Australia I made this year, that there'll be a tsunami. Um, uh, from what I saw from the way the Fiji was getting the tsunami there that's just happened, it didn't look, from the videos that I saw a few minutes ago, but I might be wrong by now, it didn't look as big as and dangerous as what happened in Indonesia. So that's a long way where that volcano erupted from Australia. But I saw, when you see these things, sometimes you see it in an exaggerated form. Maybe I saw it in an exaggerated form, or maybe there's another one to come. Maybe there's more eruptions. I don't know. But I did see it in my earlier predictions, so let's hope it doesn't get there. Let's hope it doesn't damage those islands too much either.
When you're talking there, Craig, I did see Egypt, and I saw a most horrific thing happening to one of the pyramids, and sand and something, it's going at an angle, and I saw that very strong then.
Well, that's an odd thing, because the pyramids couldn't do that, but it might be something you've seen symbolically. This is the weird thing about it,
not
because you don't know.
symbolically, it's something is turning. There's a warning.
There's supposed to be underneath the pyramids, the hidden chambers, and when they're found, that's supposed to be a very dangerous time for the world.
Right.
The ancient knowledge of the Atlantis and the rest of it is supposed to be hidden under there. I bet there is. I'm convinced there's something underneath those pyramids. Anyway, that make another good talk sometime. Pyramidology. The French say that no one can change France. The French say that no one can change France. Okay, do they? Well, time for another revolution and a sixth republic, perhaps. Nostradamus predicts France will go to war this year and burn. This year with and burn. Okay, thoughts about this. Okay, sorry guys.
I don't see that.
The problem is, every year somebody puts up a video about Nostradamus predicts for this year this, and they pull out all the quotes from Nostradamus they can find, pull all the worst ones together and say it's all going to happen. This is what's going to happen in 2021. This is what's going to happen 2019. And you go back and look at some of those videos, you think, well, now they say the same thing the next year. I've even seen websites where they just refresh it and just change the year, and the same story's there. So I'm not so sure Nostradamus does predict that we'll go to war. That's somebody interpreting that. I do think, however, and this is something I said in my other videos, I do think that France particularly is going to be one of the most volatile countries in 2022. It's going to be, I see a hell of a lot going on there in France, actually. And I think France is going to have one hell of a lot of social unrest, and more so than any other country in Europe. And it's going to be very, very difficult. And it's something that's going to continue. I feel a lot of it's going to be kind of the French wanting to find their identity again, wanting to be French again, as opposed, it's a bit of a reaction against the liberalism and even the wokeism of things. It's like pushing a lot more right wing towards Le Pen and people like that. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I do feel that is, France is, I feel France will see serious problems this year, very much so. Sorry, there's always negative things, isn't it?
Yes, right. Elaine says, Jane, the holy meditation you put on your channel was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Elaine. I might do a few more of those, actually. But it's so lovely because you can sense it and feel the energy. And I have lovely people that come on that site.
Yeah, and I think it's always not quite nice to do a meditation for people, Jane, like that, because you've got the right good voice for the meditation tapes and things.
I've got a good everything, Craig.
Yeah, but no, you do. It's got a soothing voice, and I think it's nice. It's nice you're doing that, and Elaine's obviously followed your channel via Facebook first of all, obviously. So
yeah, some lovely people that connect.
It's good to do those things.
Matt,
we've done
again,
quite a few
what
on our
are
channel.
you playing at, Matt? What happens if you don't want to reincarnate and stay close family members do? Does this mean that you won't see them again if they come back to live another? Not necessary.
Well, I think only certain people have the ability to choose their reincarnations. So someone highly advanced spiritual being, perhaps like the Dalai Lama, and anybody that's achieved a higher level of spiritual awakening can have more control over their reincarnations. Because in that Upanishads, for example, that I've been reading, they talk about two paths. When a person dies, there's the path of the moon and the path of the sun. The path of the moon leads to the spirit world, which is the one we talk about here, which is the world that is very similar to the world we know. And the path of the sun is the spirit type world, which is the world of the gods. That each of us can take a different path after life into the higher realms, or the intermediary realms, or even the lower carbon realms, depending on our spirit. But I think when we go to the realm of the moon, as it were, when we go to the realms of the normal afterlife, we can only stay there as long as our spiritual karma allows us to stay there. It's like we build in this life a kind of a savings account, right? And we have our pension that we take in the spirit world. And a certain point comes when we have to come back, because we've got to come back to learn more. We've got to learn more lessons. After a nice period there, a period of rest, a period of tranquility, we've got to come back to the turmoil of the world in order to start to learn, Craig, and progress.
I think I know
and
what
that's
Matt's
what determines.
At. I think he's worrying about his mother and his father that's passed over to the spirit world, and I feel they will come back to you, Matt. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, and also we tend to be connected not just as an individual, but all of us. No man is an island, they say, don't they? Because all of us are interconnected with one another, and we're interconnected in ways that we incarnate again as group souls. So, you know, I mean, myself, with Jane, with our family, with our friends, with our enemies even, we are still got karma to share. We've got lessons to learn between ourselves. And all those lessons are ultimately pushing us to higher awareness and higher consciousness. So we tend to come back with a group. And that's really why consciously it's important to surround yourself with the right sort of people in life.
Absolutely.
Because then you're creating an energy that don't just help them, but it helps you. You help each other. And that you can surround, it's best to try to surround yourself with people who are seeking to evolve, not seeking to go into the dark areas of hatred, but the areas of love. People, surround yourself with loving people and your world will expand.
Right, Davina says, may I also ask about past regression, please, or is that made up? Once again, I think with past regression, it's got to be provable.
Yeah, well, I've seen, I did quite a few, before I met you, I went and saw quite a few people that were doing past life regressions, and I saw some pretty remarkable stuff. People that were regressed who I knew could not speak French, for example, were speaking fluent French. And not only fluent French, but were speaking fluent ancient French. And were talking all sorts of strange stuff in ancient French. And I knew they couldn't speak French. So that's exogrossy or something they call it, don't they? But that sort of thing coming through is kind of think, wow, you know, where did that come from? Have they gone into some sort of state where in a hypnotic state they can suddenly speak another language? Or are they remembering the language from a past life? And the Bloxham tapes and all those type of things are on the BBC that time. Fantastic.
Children are very good telling about their past lives, and it's been provable where they've actually taken a person to the village that they were convinced it was their parents, and they've actually found documents.
Yeah, I think that was part of the Bloxham tapes. I remember seeing it on the... They should do some more programmes about this. I mean, Who Do You Think You Were would make an excellent TV programme. Yeah. Just like we got Who Do You Think You Are? Who do you think you were? I put it as an idea once, actually, to the BBC. They didn't pick it up.
Away.
But, well, that's too late now. They're not going to do that. But, I mean, perhaps it's something we should do, Jane. Yeah. We should do a little programme called Who Do You Think You Were? Idea, and see if we can track back people to their past lives and maybe get, if there's any past life regressionists out there that would like to get involved with us with that, get in touch. We could maybe do something between us and go and take some people back and see if we can find the places that they've seen in their past lives. But the problem is their past lives might have been in other countries and things like that. You don't think you were a
mad axeman and past
yeah, all sorts of things. Yeah. So we're coming up to the last questions now, guys. So this is your chance to put your last questions. And don't forget, follow the channel and remember to subscribe to us. And, you know, if you really like what we're doing, you know, me and Jane, we do this because we love to do it. But at the same time, we need your help to help us take it a stage further. These things we've been talking about new ideas we want to do, you know, going to other places and doing all this. If you become a patron, and you'll see all that in the description below on the YouTube page, And then you can become a subscription or go to patreon.com Hamilton Parker. We'll just put Hamilton Parker Patron into Google. You'll find us. And you can become a patron, and on our website you'll find it. You can become a patron and help us to push this a little bit further. A small amount every month. You won't notice it. It's not even the cost of a newspaper. Can really help us. And if you want to come on and talk to me and Jane sometimes on Zoom, we also do that on Patreon as well. So, last questions now.
Right. Joanne says, do you think Fergie will be welcomed back to the royal family despite stuff about Andrew going on? And do you think his daughters and her will cut him out of their life? Well, I don't think they will cut their father out the life, will they? And Sarah Ferguson has always been loyal to Andrew, but then it might be, might be because she has no money, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a strange sort of loyalty, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think the Queen's going to actually turn her back on Andrew. After all, it is her son. But
I suppose it's the same problem, isn't it? It's the public face.
Yeah.
And the family face.
Yeah.
It's still family, and at the same time it's public, and it's in full view of everybody.
Yeah.
I felt very sorry for Fergie, actually, when she's so desperate to make money, wasn't she? Because she was so deeply in debt. Some of the ridiculous stuff she did in America to try to sort of go in on shows that were totally inappropriate. She's a strange woman. I don't know. Do you think I don't think she'd be rejected.
Well, I don't.
Not because of Andrew, will she?
No, I don't.
Because the Queen's not going to reject Andrew.
No, I don't
Still
think she is so close to the royal family, shall I say?
Oh, wow,
No, but I think at the end of the day, it's the Queen's son, and it is the Queen's grandchildren and things. It's most difficult. Even the Queen has problems with the family, like any ordinary family.
And Andrew's her favourite, they say, don't they?
Well, so they say, but all your children
Wouldn't
should be
surprise
equal.
me. The favourite is usually the most naughty.
Well, no.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Baba Vanga and her predictions? Well, that's a great one to throw in at the end with all the masses of... I think she's an amazing woman. The only problem we have with it is people look her up on in the internet, and it's just like I was saying with that Nostradamus stuff. People want sensational headlines, so Baba Vanga says about 2022, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, she hadn't said a thing about that, and there's so much fake stuff out there, it's very hard to sift through to find what's real and what's not. The internet, unfortunately, has often become a place where the misinformation has swamped the real information. And people I've spoken to, she was Bulgarian, wasn't she? So from Bulgaria, but some of the people from her country, anyway, have said to me, they see all this stuff on the internet, and they say, they're all putting out such fake stuff that the real things that she has to say are getting missed. I mean, I've not found a good book on her. That might be my next reading book, actually. I think I'll see if I can find a good book on Baba Vanga and learn a bit more about her. But I mean, I think she is real, mind you.
Do you want to read that?
Jane has a lovely, soothing voice for meditation.
And Craig has an artificial voice.
I definitely felt a lovely energy on Jane's meditation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think one of you said that when we were going through that meditation, it felt like you actually smelt the flowers.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
so I didn't listen to it, Jane. That's a visualization type of meditation, was it?
Well, yeah, and it's Indian and praying as well, and praying for Mother Earth and praying for, that everybody should be peaceful times and love.
Yeah, so it's a sort of visualization take you into...
Not just visualization, it was very important, really.
Problem is, me and Jane don't get time to listen to each other's stuff.
Oh, that's nice, Angela. I love your new channel, Jane, and your voice is very calming and soothing. Seems strange that Craig isn't talking over you.
These are your friends, aren't they?
I've never met these people.
Thank you for this lovely evening,
you,
says
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
That's a nice name, isn't it, Eleanor?
Oh, we're waiting for a few more thank yous. I need a minute go having a look. Thank you both for a really interesting chat tonight.
Oh, thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie. Bye. Enjoy your evening. Thank you, Craig and Jane. Lovely live as usual. Blessings to you both.
And blessings to you.
Thank you,
Thank
Julie
you,
says.
Julie.
Well, I saw your questions earlier, Julie, so we
Thank you
should
very
have
much,
picked some
today,
of those
Craig
up.
and Jane. That says Neil.
Thank you both again. Blessings and Siram to you both.
Siram.
Thank you for the time to light us up.
Justice, that's nice. Great show again, thanks, says Linda. Ireland, thank you, Jane and Craig, and Domenico for tonight's live.
Good. You're remembering Domenico again in the
Yeah,
background. They're doing
we
all the
couldn't do
work.
it without
You don't
him.
see his face very often, but you do
No cakes
occasionally
or
get a little
biscuits.
glance.
No, greedy Craig has eaten them all.
Thank you. A perfect way to spend a Saturday
Oh,
evening.
that's so
Oh, that's
sweet
nice
of you.
to
Thank
say
you.
that.
Precious one, can I find your meditation channel, Jane? Well, if you type in on YouTube, Psychic Medium, Jane Hamilton Parker, it should come up.
Yeah, I'll see if when I get home, I'll put a link in the description too, so people can find it. Thank you, Craig and Jane. Another great discussion this evening.
Thank you, Agility. Patrice, great chat. Thanks for that.
Thank you for a lovely evening,
I
says
love that
Precious
name,
De Vere.
Precious. Blessings to you both, says Maureen.
One of my favourite channels, says
Oh,
Bliss
that's
Nirvana.
nice.
That's nice of you.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm glad you're all enjoying it. We put a lot of work in, don't
Blissful
we, really? I
Nirvana.
mean, we give up our Saturdays.
Marilyn
nice
says,
to
thank you
get
for
the
your
thanks.
fireside chat, Craig and Jane. God bless. God bless to all of you too.
And thank you both, blessings.
Oh, that's
and thank you
nice.
for all of you who are supporting the channel, particularly all of you, again, who are patrons.
Yeah, and Anne
because it
says,
helps us a
blessings
lot.
to you both watching from the US.
Blessings
Groove
from
14.
Atlanta. Groovy, man.
I thought it was nearly said Atlantis then.
Well, that's a groovy place. Emma's saying, thank you for answering my
Oh, that's
questions.
nice.
Thank you for putting the questions.
Sheila, lovely. Good discussion as usual. It's 1:30 a.m. in India. You're both worth the wait. Oh, bless you,
Blimey,
Sheila.
you're up at 1:30, Sheila. And you're often on the line when we do the Patreon as well.
Sanjay,
Perhaps you
good
don't
night.
sleep.
Good night.
Thank you, Craig and
Eduardo.
Jane. Once more, greetings from Argentina.
Oh, that's
so that's
nice.
everybody, all around the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Australia to Argentina. Thank you. Arigato. Arigato.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
for
you,
tonight.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Matt comes on every week, doesn't he? I'm
Yeah.
always seeing Matt there.
Groove 14, you are the best. Thank you dearly. Blessings from Atlanta. Blessings.
Thank you.
Love
Thanks
from
for
the
joining
heart.
us, guys. Mary Camp saying thank you.
Matt,
Thanks, Domenico.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
Just
very
come and show your
important.
face, Domenico. Thank you for a chilled evening.
That's nice.
Well, it looks like we've finished the thank yous now, so we're going to be saying our goodbyes. So don't forget, we're always on at the same time. It's 7 o'clock UK time, and we always come on a Saturday evening. We try to get pretty much every Saturday. Sometimes we have to, sometimes we can't do it, but most of the time. And follow the channel, guys, and we'll see you all again soon.
Yeah.
So,
Ciao.
bye for now.
Would you like to know more about the paranormal world? Craig Hamilton Parker's books are now available on Amazon. Explore the future. Discover what happens after death. Unlock the secrets of your dreams. Learn to develop your own psychic skills.